All right, so we're back for measurement help part 2. So in part 1, we went over the inch and broke it down very simply. So I'm going to erase all of this stuff for the inch here, all that work. And I'm going to bring in some of the problems from some of the worksheets we're doing. So we're doing 3 worksheets, so I'll do a couple problems from each. So I'm going to turn on this layer. I'm going to go to it. All right, so on this one, we have 2 scales here. So let's look at this. Turn off the layers button because it annoys me. We have a scale, and if I divide it right down the middle, ooh, that's too light. I want like a violent green. There we go. Like if we divide the scale down the middle here, you'll notice the top and the bottom are different scales. So the top has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is an 1/8 inch scale, which means all your answers for the top are going to have an 8 in the denominator. The bottom scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Is a 16th scale, meaning you're going to have numbers of 16 as the denominator to start anyway. So I'm going to do 3 problems from the top and 1, 2 from the bottom. Okay. So the first problem I'm doing here on the 1/8 inch scale is B. And B, you start at 0 and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's start B over here. B equals 6, because that's how many lines it was. And then on the scale, 8ths. Okay, so the bottom number is an okay number. That's the okay numbers we said before were 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, etc. Doubling each time. So we got 6/8, and that's an okay number. But this top number is even, so it won't do. So the greatest common factor I can think of is 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2, which will get me 3 over 4. And that is the final answer for B. So B is 3/4 when it's reduced. And that's good for B. So let's see, we got D here. And D is also on the 8th scale, so I'm going to say D over 8 is a number. And, so first situation, D I can actually get really lazy on. Because the first thing we do, even before we do the fractions, is we look for whole inches. So D, if we're looking for whole inches, is not 1 whole inch, it's past there. It is 2 whole inches. And then it doesn't go anywhere from there. It's actually on the 2 inch mark. So we don't actually have to count over 1, 2, 3, 4 or anything. It is just 2 whole inches. That is our final answer. It can be that simple. So 2 inches. So that was a good one to have on there. And then we'll do F to finish the top half. And that is going to be an 1/8, but I'm not listening to myself. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find out how many whole inches we've got. So 1, 2. So F is between 3 and 4 whole inches. So it is not 4 inches. It is 3 inches and some change. So it's 3 inches on the 1/8 inch scale. So I put over 8 and then I got to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 3 and 5/8 inches. So we got 3 and 5/8. We got one of the appropriate numbers from here on the bottom. We got the 5 on the top. That is an odd number. That's good. So this is the final answer for F. So that's good. All right. I'm going to change my pen color to blue for the bottom. So the bottom's a 16th inch scale, and the first one we're doing on the bottom is L. So L, that's not quite bright enough for me. I want it a little brighter. L, and it's going to be on the 16th inch scale. We do not get to the 1 inch, so here's 1 inch. We don't get to 1 inch. So L is 16 for the bottom, and what's it over? So let's count. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So L is 6/16. Bottom number checks out as a fine possible bottom number, but the top number's even, so we have to divide both by 2. So in doing so, we get 3 over 8. So it's 3/8 of an inch. That is the answer to L. And then the final one is N, and this is a big one. So N. First thing, we check if it's a whole inch, and it is. It's past 1, it's past 2. We don't get to 3, so it is 2 and something. So 2 and some kind of a 16th because it's a 16th scale. So looking at this, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 2 and 8/16. Okay, so I'm going to put N down here because the answer is going to keep going. So N is 2 for a whole thing, and then 8/16. Now I can divide that by 2, and I'd get 4 over 8. And I divide by 2 again, and I'd get 2 over 1. Or, sorry, 2 over 4. And I divide it again. Or I could look and I go like 8 and 16 are divisible by each other. So 8's the greatest common factor here. So I'm going to divide both sides by 8 in this case. And I'm going to get a half. Now, this gets kind of confusing to look at, so I'm just going to rewrite it down here. We still keep the whole inch. That doesn't get affected. We just reduce the fraction to a half. So 2 1/2 is our answer for N. And that is like a quarter of the assignment done for you. So what a deal. So that's measurement sheet 1. Let's look over to measurement sheet number 2. This one's a little simpler. I'm only going to do 2 from this one. We'll do 4. Got to get on that layer. I'm going to do 4 here and 1. So number 4 is easy. And basically I'm doing 4 to illustrate, like we're starting from 0 and measuring between the arrows. So between 0 and right here is 1 inch. So 1 inch. That one's super easy. When we look at number 1, we're still going from 0, as do all of them on this sheet, and we're going all the way over to here. So we're past 1 inch, we're past 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't get to 6. So this is 5 inches for certain. It looks like it's a 16th inch scale. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Remember 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it is a 16th scale, and it is 12/16, which we broke this down in the other video. But if you don't remember, 12/16 is not good because 12 is even. And if 12 is even, we can reduce. So what do we want to reduce by? We can divide by 2 with both of them, or we can divide by 4. Let's just go through the process of dividing by 2. So if we divide both sides by 2, we wind up with 6 over 8. They're still both even. So let's divide by 2 again. And we wind up with 3 over 4. So we got 3/4 right here. So 5 3/4 is our answer here. And the rest are all in a variant of that. Okay? So that is this one. Now the last sheet actually has a challenge. So I'm just going to do these 3 I have up here on the last sheet. Or on the third sheet I'm going to give you. So this sheet, what it wants you to do is to measure between whatever letters it says. So this first one right here, oh, got to turn the layer sheet back on. I want to select that one. Great. So the first one here, it wants you to measure between whatever letters it says. So this one's saying between A and B. So that's from 0, because A is at 0. So anything from A starts at 0. So it's very much like the last sheet we did. So this is A to B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is 6 over, and then how many other 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it's a 16th inch scale. So it's 6 over 16. That's no good as it is because they're both even numbers. So we must divide both of these by 2. So divide by 2, divide by 2. And we wind up with 3 over 8. So 3/8. So that's number 1 is 3/8. Okay. Number 8 is A to I. So A to I. Once again, we're starting at the 0 because A. And then we've got to go and see how many full inches. We got 1 full inch, 2 full inch, 3 full inch. So I'm going to write down 3 because we got 3 full inches, and then we got 1, 2, 3 sixteenths. So 3 sixteenths, just write it down. The top number is odd. The bottom number is one of the acceptable 4 of 2, 4, 8, 16, etc. So this is a final answer. I don't have to do anything to it, so I'm just going to move that straight down and be 3 sixteenths. Very good. Very good. All right. So the last one's a little different. So I'm going to actually... Oh, dear. Didn't want that. I know why that's happening. Because the background's black. So we'll just leave this. We'll just get a different color. We'll get red. And red will let us illustrate. So the last one's only between red. And it's between C and G. So we're at C here. Now we're at C and we're going over to G. This means we do not start at 0. C is our 0. So it's much more difficult. This actually requires some thought. And the way I like to do this is first I figure out what C is. So C is the 12th line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's the 12th line. So I know it's the 12th line right here. So it's the 12th line. And every 16 lines I get an inch. So what I could do is I could quickly identify all the 12th lines. So I got one here, one here, one here. I can do that by looking at them. I'm pretty good at it. If you're not, what you could do is you could just count 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And be like, ha, 1 inch. And then you could count and see if you get to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I didn't get to 2 inches because this would be 2 inches. But I didn't get there. I got to 11 over 16. So my answer for this one would be the 1 full inch I got right here plus the 11 sixteenths I got between here and right here. Went over it a little bit. So between here and here, I had 11 sixteenths. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Was it 12? Did I miscount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It was 12. So it's 12 sixteenths. So it is 1 and 12 sixteenths is my answer. So looking at this, it is not reduced all the way. I have to reduce 12 sixteenths. I happen to know 3 quarters is going to be our answer because they both are reducible by 4. It's going to drive me crazy, so I will just trace that out a little bit. There we go. You can divide both sides by 4. That is the greatest common factor. And when I reduce these out, I would get 1 because I got to bring the 1 over. Don't forget about the 1 and 3/4 inch. And that would be our answer here. These last ones on this worksheet are all like this. So like 15 through 20 are all like this, where you have to, isolate a part of it. Like if we were doing K to O, I'd take K, which is at the 15 16th mark, and I'd count over 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 17, and blah. And I'd say, 1 inch right here. And then 2 inches would be right here. I don't get there, so I just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'd get the same thing. I'd get 1 and 12 sixteenths again. And we would reduce to 1 3/4. And that is how you would do this one. This is by far the only one that's difficult out of the 3. If you need further assistance with any of these, feel free to ask. But this is, I hope, helpful to you to show you the procedure. Once again, all you've got to be able to do is count to 16, from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If you can count to 16 and know what scale you're on, like I just counted 16, so that's a 16th inch scale. If I counted to here, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like that from here to here would be 11 sixteenths. That's all there is to it. And then just know if they're both even numbers, you got to keep reducing until the top number becomes an odd number. Okay? This isn't to say there are other measurements, like we could have measurements like 2/3 or something, but using the ruler and using what's on the scale of the ruler, choosing the 16th as our smallest measurement or the 8th, whatever the ruler is, these are the ways you would calculate your answers. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask in class.